And Billy went back for the telephone there. You can see the shadows are getting very long here. And as is typical in the tropics, when the sun drops over the horizon, it gets dark rather quickly. Look at this. As they were getting ready to come off the corner, Mansell loses it. Now, it has been raining in several sections of the race course. They have gone green, despite the fact that Nigel's sitting here. He went back out on dry tires. Many of the teams came in and went over to the wet rain tires. So Michael Andretti, who could have been challenged by Nigel in that restart, is all alone once again.
Paul, I think all of them should have come in. You watch Michael be sliding all around. Right
there he is.
Kaboom, and then he took the tires with him.
But I don't think he hurt the car.
Looks like he didn't bend the car. The problem is you can't run a wet racetrack.
And
look at him back there. You can't do that. The guy should have known. The problem is that everybody does what the leader does. Michael was the leader. He didn't come in, so Nigel didn't come in. But look at the problems they're in.
And the tires are still out in the course for where Michael got into him and pulled him out. There's still some debris back there. I don't see any obvious problems on Michael's car.
No, there is. I don't think there's any problems with it, but we're going to see more action because you can't run cars with dry tires on a wet racetrack without problems like this.
And now Mario Andretti comes up to pull alongside Matteo Fabi as they go full course yellow again. Mario got the first pass done. He was not past Fittipaldi by the time the yellow came out. And we've got another car in trouble, Mike Robb. So even though it doesn't appear to be very slick out there, it obviously is.
Just so everybody knows, it would be like driving on ice. So those folks that have been in that bad winter we've had this year, it's just like driving on ice.
Bad winter in Albuquerque?
No, I don't mean Albuquerque. I said to those folks. New York, Wisconsin, all the East Coast.
I see.
An incredible surge to the front by Mario Andretti. He played this beautifully. Here's Mansell.
Listen to him as he's trying to talk them into getting him around quickly.
You know, it's so disgusting to be able to sit there like that, and you know the time is just going away. Look at him. And there's really nothing you can do because you can't even talk to the guys that are pushing you. Now,
this is what got him there.
Here's Nigel coming around. He breaks loose. Now, once he's broken loose, you have no more traction. And it just continues going around. What almost happened, though, is when he came around like this, now the rear tires are locked up, going backwards there. Now he almost hit the wall. Boy, that's what could have been bad.
Decision time for Fittipaldi, too. How'd you like to have Nigel's car filling up your front windscreen?
And, you know, Emerson didn't dare hit his brakes because he would have locked up and for sure hit Mansell then.
Now, here's Michael just a few seconds thereafter. Jumps the curb on the inside, loses the back end. Fortunately, there were tire barriers there. This is what it looked on board. How it looked on board, Bobby.
Yes, here he is going into the chicane. He gets up on the curb, which really hurt him. He gets sideways. We can't see the tires he collected, but look at it. It was just like running into a balloon. It just slowed him down, caught him, straightened him out.
Nigel's on board camera while he chased Michael.
Now he's going sideways. You can see it there twerking a little bit, tweaking. And here he comes around. Now he starts going backwards. There just is no traction. Another thing about this, when you're running dry tires on a wet pavement, where the cars have been laying rubber down before is the place where it's the slippriest. Like, for example, water is the best lubricant in the world for rubber. So it really makes it bad when you go across where the normal groove used to be.
And remember, these cars have upward of 750 horsepower. So no matter how careful you are when you're trying to feed the power on, as Nigel was coming out of that turn, with the turbochargers, it can be very hard to get it smooth enough to avoid the wheel spin.
What happens, Sam, is they have a great big giant butterfly, and when you open it just a little bit, you get like 30% instead of 10% of power.
You saw dark skies out over the Pacific as Johnny Rutherford, driving the pace car, seems to be getting as much time on the circuit as Michael Andretti, the current leader of the Australian IndyCar Grand Prix. As we come back to the green flag, Michael Andretti leads the field in. And right behind him is Emerson Fittipaldi, followed by Mario Andretti. We're green again.
Now, Paul, the track has really dried an awful lot since just before we went yellow and had all the crashes. The track is getting dry and wet and dry back again so fast you can't believe it. You can see Michael's going through there without any problems, no slipping or sliding. That's just how much better it got just during the last yellow.
Look how racy Mario Andretti's gotten, though, as he comes up to challenge Emerson Fittipaldi.
It's a terrific tonic for Mario to know that his superstar teammate Nigel Mansell made a mistake in his way back, working his way through the pack.
As Mansell's sitting back in 14th position now, you can see the shadows are very long here. In fact, in some areas, the street lamps with automatic lights have already turned on. So these shadows are lengthening very quickly.
Not only that, it's cloudy too, cloudy and dark. You know, just so everybody knows, I just want to mention, Paul, that Michael Andretti, Nigel Mansell, none of those guys came in to change tires. And the reason being is the race could be called official when it's halfway over. And they were hoping that, and some of this racing is a gamble, that the rain would just go away, and it has so far.
And we're only about 4 laps away from the halfway point. A pleasant surprise up here in the front of the order. Currently runs in 4th place behind Mario Andretti, and that's Jimmy Vasser.
Vasser has had a fine weekend. Mistake-free, handsome driving.
Here Mansell's in trouble again. In trouble again.
It's easy to speculate that this was the consequence of his charge through the field.
He went off a turn, went into the runoff area. Still had his engine going, which is good. He wants to get back in again, but Mansell really gets disgusted with himself when he does make mistakes.
Mario sets himself into position to challenge Fittipaldi. At the same time, Stefan Johansson closes on Jimmy Vasser for 4th place.
Remember that Mario Andretti is 54 years old. Look at him press the attack. Very near the end of his great career. Here he comes.
There's Mansell as he tries to get past some cars, and he runs off the course again and spins it around, bounces it a little bit off the wall, and now he needs a push to get it going.
Now you can see he's to the point of being too mad. He's too angry, and that's not like Nigel Mansell to do something like that. That extra spin and stuff that he did really wasn't necessary.
Long, frustrating day, as now he has open track because he has a long distance to make up.
Nigel, curiously, has never defended a championship. He won the World Championship, but he gave up Formula One and came over here, of course, to win the IndyCar Championship last year. This would be his first defense of a championship.
And this was that situation as Nigel headed in, just locked the brakes.
And it was a good place to pass, and it probably is his favorite, or at least one of his 2 favorite places to pass. Unfortunately, he went down where it's still wet and no cars have been running, and then right there he killed the engine. Now that's not like Nigel Mansell to do that.
You know, in the older days, Bobby, there were a number of drivers that when they won the championship didn't want the #1. They thought it was bad luck. Gordon Johncock was one of them. Is Mansell a superstitious man?
I don't think so. I think he's just a good race driver, and I really have never believed that myself, and I hope he doesn't.
Mario was making the move on Emerson Fittipaldi there. He's coming alongside Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi cuts him off into the chicane. But Mario's right back at him.
Mario had a very poor qualifying run, but he's certainly aggressive now, or at least Emil certainly thinks he is.
Remember that Emerson Fittipaldi won this race under very similar circumstances. When it began to rain right at the end, he slithered through and won the race. He's the master of very tricky and changing conditions.
Right behind Mario, Jimmy Vasser, just a few hundred yards back, being challenged by Stefan Johansson, and Scott Goodyear has pulled up behind Johansson now.
You can watch Mario when he comes out of the turns. They're still a little bit hurting for traction, so they're still slipping and sliding a little bit.
Mario looking for any opportunity he can find. He can sense the prospect of moving up and being in the lead. Boy, wouldn't he like to do that in his final season.